Brenton, you were sitting in a jail for 6 months.
Yes, sir.
When you were sitting in that room and they were trying to convince you to sign a false statement, you knew it was false.
Yes, sir.
They asked you where you were, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what did you tell them?
I told them, like, during that morning time, I brushed my teeth. Like, I woke up, I brushed my teeth. I fed my dog. I see my parents. I said good morning to my mom. I spoke to my little brother. And after I fed my dog, I just set out to go get a job application from Blockbuster.
So, a man's walking down the street to get a job. We should say the happy ending. You went to trial. Trial lasted 5 days, correct?
Yes, sir.
So did you think then that Brenton would be coming home, or did you think Brenton was going to be staying after the judge put his gavel down the last time?
Well, I was fairly confident. I was very confident that actually justice would prevail, but it was just extremely hurting to really see the detectives that, inflicted these blows, that they were lying, knowing that they're lying. It became just a game to them, and even as far as the prosecutor, it just seems though it was just about winning and losing. It wasn't about
in this particular case, when you say winning and losing, it was a disposable black kid.
Right.
Had this kid been a 15-year-old white kid, I will guarantee you this thing would have never gone to trial. I should say the jury came back and found him and acquitted him, 100%. Acquitted. Which then does give us some faith in the system, because a jury of our peers were able to take a look and see this. As a matter of fact, one of those jury members are here. Please welcome Amanda to the show. Thank you, Amanda, for being here. Thank you. I'm pretty hot on this one, and I'm hot on this because you as a jury member, when they first gave you this case, you heard the evidence that they had. What did you think when you first heard about this?
First heard it during jury selection. I thought that he was guilty. I said, that's it, he's guilty, and that's it. Which I know that's horrible to say, but...
Well, you know, that's just human nature. That's what we have to think. So then the trial begins. And I should call it a show, but the show begins as a trial. And they start laying out their facts. Here comes the prosecution at you, telling you that this boy had to have done this. Did you start to see some holes?
And well, as soon as it started, I really wanted to have all the facts together and listen to both sides, because that was my duty as a juror. But once everything came through, I thought that the cops, their testimony, just a lot of holes, things didn't fit together, a lot of red flags, and I really saw things the way they were. And
you got to hear some testimony from Brent's attorneys about the fact that they had coerced him and beat him into it. Now, did you believe that? Because they showed you pictures of his face. Yeah,
I believed it, because there was evidence. There were pictures and photos and all different types of angles and the bruises and everything.
Of a 15-year-old child. Please welcome Brenton's attorneys, Mr. Thomas Fallis and also Mr. Robert Slammer. Were these police officers ever prosecuted for direct perjury?
No, they were not.
Were they ever prosecuted for abuse and abusing their badge and their power?
Criminally, no, but that's what this civil case is.
Oh, no, but the civil is different. Because see, what bothers me about that is, and I'm happy, I'm glad that the two of you guys took this case on, and this family will be compensated and Brenton will be compensated, but that does us no good. It does you some good, but it does this country no good.
You're absolutely right, and the problem is, and I don't think it's just something that's just in our community or in Jacksonville. I think it's endemic throughout the whole country. I mean, you know about the blue line that police officers have, but there's something else that I don't think people realize. There is what I've described over the years as a incestuous relationship between the prosecutor's office and the police department. The system did not work for Brenton Butler. I mean, you said he was acquitted, and a sheriff tried to say, well, the system worked. No. Unless you accept the principle that taking in an innocent person, beating him into a confession, is a legitimate part of the system, that the system didn't work. He should never have been prosecuted. But getting back to what you asked me before, there is this incestuous relationship, and sometimes it's political, sometimes it's just because they work together all the time, but prosecutors are supposed to make the independent decision. In this case, in a lot of cities, it's the tail wagging the dog. Police go out, do your job, do your investigation, come tell the prosecutor, this is what I got. Prosecutor must make the decision, do I go forward? Do I have legitimate evidence?
Well, and let's just go through this. As the evidence unfolded, a person who would have walked up to a woman and shot them from 12 inches would have had powder burns and blood stains all over their hands, on their body, from the person dying. The purse and the money that was stolen would have had his fingerprints on it. What was it, a month after the acquittal, they found the purse?
In January, they found the purse, correct.
They found a purse?
No, the purse was found on the 8th, the day after.
After?
It was January that they found...
Fortunately, they found it the day after the trial. It seemed a little sketchy to me.
No, excuse me. They found it the day after he was arrested, okay? However, they didn't do a thorough job in investigating this evidence.
But they saw that there were fingerprints on there that didn't match Brenton's.
They claim no. It wasn't until
after
January that they realized that they found fingerprints that didn't match Brent's.
How convenient.
That were correct.
How convenient. Yeah, there were fingerprints that they found in the bag the day after they arrested Brenton.
Right, that belonged to a...
7 months later, they realized they weren't his.
Right.
They found fingerprints on the money, and 7 months later, they realized they weren't his.
No, those fingerprints matched to an armed robber.
Sure, yeah, but they realized they weren't his.
Exactly.
And when the police got him on the side of the street, there was no blood, no powder stains. So he had time to go take a shower, wash himself off, run back out on the street, walk down the street to get an application. Right. And again, now, if someone thinks that this wasn't a railroad and this wasn't an exact attempt at just railroading a black child to jail, you're crazy. And this is why some people are very angry in America. We'll take a little break when we come back. It's not just about being falsely accused. What happens when you take your child to a hospital? Child's injured. And the next thing you know, you open up a Pandora's box and are accused of the worst form of abuse that you could ever think of, and you lose your child. All because the system was wrong. Take a break. We'll be back right after this.
It's time you...
Now, I must say, when we were discussing what happened in Brent's case, the police officers were never on trial. So even though the evidence was presented to the jury that Brent had been beat, we have to say that it was allegedly had happened. Because until they go on trial for that, or if they never go on trial for that, it never happened. So allegedly, the police beat him. Please welcome Lois to the show.